Historic unity achieved in Nepal's divided diaspora. NRNA leaders signed agreement. Prime Minister calls for global collaboration. Final day for party registration ends in Nepal amid wave of new entrants from diverse backgrounds. At least 4 dead in a shooting at a child's birthday party in California. 10 others injured. US faces global backlash after Trump declares Venezuelan airspace completely closed, raising sovereignty concerns. Southeast Asia faces deadly floods, hundreds killed, millions displaced across Indonesia, Sri Lanka, Thailand, Malaysia. And Kathmandu Gorkhas gets closer to the playoff of NPL, beat Karnali Yaks by 5 wickets. Hello there, I am Iprila Gising Lama and this is NTV World Primetime News coming to you live from Kathmandu at 1900 hours. Now the news in detail. Nepal's global diaspora network, the Non-Resident Nepali Association, the NRNA, has long been influential yet internally divided. Today in Kathmandu, those divisions formally ended. At the office of the Prime Minister, Dr. Badri Kesi and Mahesh Shrestha signed a grand unity agreement in the presence of Prime Minister Sushila Karki and Minister for Communication and Information Technology, Jagdish Kharel. Prime Minister Karki called the moment a milestone for Nepalis abroad, urging the diaspora to carry a shared identity and to channel their knowledge, skills and investment back into Nepal. Minister Kharel stressed that unity must extend beyond the signatures, urging the NRNA to rise above party politics and establish itself as a truly global, non-partisan institution. Both Dr. Kesi and President Shrestha said the agreement gives the organization renewed purpose. A united NRNA, they said, can better mobilize Nepali talent and capital across the world to support Nepal's development. A divided diaspora has found common ground, and Nepal, watching closely, hopes this unity will last. Nepal's Prime Minister Sushila Karki has urged the country's vast diaspora to unite and help steer Nepal through a turbulent political moment, calling their engagement a milestone as the nation rebuilds after this year's Gen Z-led unrest.
त्यहाँ दलभित्र पनि मेलमिलाप चाहिएको छ नेता नेता फुटेको देखिन्छ चिरा चिरा भएछ अनि फेरि त्यसपछि उहरू पनि विभिन्न दलको पनि एक आपसमा पानी बाराबार जस्तो देखिन्छ त्यस्तोले त देश चल्दैन मुलुक चल्ने सिस्टम को छ त
Nepal Prime Minister Karki has clarified that she had no intention of demeaning any religion or community, responding to growing criticism over comments she made while launching the global 16 days of activism against gender-based violence campaign on Facebook. Her remarks aimed at highlighting gender violence and triggered debate across social media and among religious groups. Today, addressing the controversy, Prime Minister Karki said her words had been misunderstood and that she holds equal respect for all faiths. She urged citizens to help maintain peace, harmony and tolerance at a time when Nepal is navigating a sensitive and polarized environment. Karki appealed for unity, saying the country must not allow social tension to overshadow efforts to combat gender-based violence. A reaffirmation from the Prime Minister at a moment when digital outrage is increasingly shaping political narratives. Now, the deadline for registering political parties for the upcoming House of Representatives election on March 5 has officially closed today. A significant number of new parties have registered, including around 24 formed after the Gen Z protest. The registrations feature leaders from diverse backgrounds, entrepreneurs, teachers, lawyers, social activists, former mayors, even ex-police chiefs and representatives from LGBTQ+ and third gender communities. According to the Election Commission, these new parties aim to promote good governance and contribute to policy making alongside establishing their professional and social initiatives. Analysts note that the increase in party numbers reflects citizens from various professions entering politics with new plans and ideas. In the last House election of 2079 and 84, parties participated. This year, the numbers has grown further, and parties registered for direct elections must also apply separately to participate in the proportional system. In Nepal's Gorkha district, 21 people have been injured after a minibus travelling toward Narayangarh went off the road at 12 kilo and plunged about 50 meters down a slope, crashing into a tree. Police say the bus had just left Gorkha Bazaar when it became uncontrolled. All injured passengers have been rescued and referred to Chitwan for treatment. It's time for a short break. We'll be right back. Stay tuned. Today, the Rashtriya Swatantra Party and Vivekshil Saza Party formally announced their merger in Kathmandu's Rashtriya Sabha Griha. Top leaders from both parties signed the unity declaration pledging to strengthen alternative politics, transparency and good governance. After the merger, the party will retain the name Rashtriya Swatantra Party with the bell as its election symbol. Party leaders and members attended the announcement ceremony. On the eve of World AIDS Day, health officials in Nepal held a special discussion to boost awareness and strengthen prevention efforts. Dr. Sarvesh Sharma, director of the National AIDS and STD Control Center, highlighted Nepal's goals to eliminate AIDS by 2030. Currently, an average of 1.7 people are newly infected with HIV daily, with over 34,300 cases reported by the end of 2024. Dr. Sharma emphasized the critical role of media, government and public participation in achieving an AIDS-free nation, calling for global solidarity and awareness in the fight against the epidemic. Nepal's Palpa district recently hosted a Yamari and food festival celebrating the country's rich Newari heritage and time-honored culinary traditions. The festival not only showcases Yamari, a beloved steamed dumpling, but also preserves indigenous rituals, attire and cultural knowledge for younger generations while promoting tourism and local livelihoods. Here's a report.
In a bid to preserve Nepal's sumptuous Newari cuisine, the Western District of Palpa recently celebrated a Yamari and food festival. The major attraction of the festival drawing people was Yamari, which is a steamed dumpling made of rice flour dough with a sweet filling molasses or milk solids. The Newars, one of Nepal's indigenous ethnic groups, hold the Yamari festival as a core part of their cultural identity. In the Newari language, Ya means a favorite and Mari means bread, making Yamari one of the most beloved traditional delicacies in Nepal. The festival provided an opportunity for community elders to pass down traditional rituals, costumes, art forms, lifestyles, and attire to younger generations. Traditionally prepared during the Yamari Punni festival, it is a popular energy-rich snack shared among family, relatives, and neighbors as an offering to deities, especially on the full moon day in mid-November to December. The festival has become a vital platform for preserving Newari culture, transferring cultural knowledge to younger generations, promoting tourism in Palpa, and supporting local livelihoods.
हाम्रो बाजे बराजुहरूले चलिआएको यो हाम्रा किसान समुदायबाट यो धान उब्जाइसकेपछि प्रत्येक वर्ष धानको बालीलाई पूजा गर्नको लागि यो मरी बनाएर भकारीको रूपमा यो मरी बनाएर खाने चलन चलिआएको छ.
To safeguard such traditions, Tansin municipality and the local ward offices allocate funds and actively support the event.
We'll take a short break here. Stay tuned. At least 4 people have died and 10 others injured in a shooting at a birthday party in Stockton, California. The incident occurred Saturday evening at a local restaurant with victims including both children and adults. Authorities say the suspected shooter is still at large and preliminary reports indicate this may have been a targeted attack. The San Joaquin County Sheriff's Office confirmed the shooting happened around 6 p.m. local time. Sheriff spokesperson Heather Brent described the attack as unimaginable, expressing deep sorrow over the tragic loss of life. The United States has drawn sharp international backlash after former President Donald Trump declared on social media that the airspace over and around Venezuela is completely closed. Iran, Cuba and Ecuador have condemned the statement, calling it a direct threat to Venezuela's sovereignty and a violation of international law. Iran's foreign ministry said the remarks endanger global aviation security, describing them as part of a pattern of U.S. proactive and illegal actions. Cuba's foreign minister warned the move escalates military and psychological aggression with unpredictable consequences for Latin America. And former Ecuadorian President Rafael Correa labeled the declaration outright aggression against a sovereign nation. A diplomatic storm now surrounds Washington's latest posture toward Caracas. Thousands marched in Manila on Sunday demanding jail for officials, lawmakers and construction firm owners accused of siphoning billions in public funds through so-called ghost flood control projects. Protesters faced barbed wire barricades near the presidential palace, chanting against corruption while riot police held their lines. Marchers carried effigies merging President Ferdinand Marcos and Vice President Sara Duterte into a two-headed crocodile symbolizing graft. The first arrest, 8 members of the Department of Public Works and Highways were announced just days ago, with the government promising that big fish are coming soon. Demonstrators from church leaders to students said accountability must extend to high-ranking officials, noting lives lost due to corruption and demanding systemic reform. The protest recalled EDSA, the historic people power thoroughfare, emphasizing the public's demand for justice in a country long scarred by political scandals. Parts of Southeast Asia are grappling with some of the worst flooding in years as monsoon rains and cyclones wreak havoc across Indonesia, Sri Lanka, Thailand and Malaysia. In Indonesia, authorities report 442 dead and dozens still missing after weeks of torrential rain swept through West Sumatra and other regions. Rescue teams are evacuating women and children by rubber boats amid rising waters. Sri Lanka has declared a state of emergency with the death toll reaching 193 and many more missing as the cyclone Ditwa exacerbates flooding across Colombo and surrounding areas. Thailand and Malaysia are also facing severe disruptions with millions affected, highlighting the growing vulnerability of the region to extreme weather events intensified by climate change. Humanitarian agencies are mobilizing while local communities struggle to protect homes and livelihoods amid the ongoing crises. Sri Lanka is reeling from one of its worst weather disasters in years as floods and mudslides triggered by Cyclone Ditwa have killed at least 193 people. More than 200 are missing and over 20,000 homes have been destroyed, forcing 108,000 people into state-run shelters, the Disaster Management Center reports. Officials say about a third of the country is without electricity or running water, and a state of emergency has been declared. Evacuation orders are in effect in areas where the Kelani River continues to rise as authorities warn the flooding remains unpredictable. Humanitarian teams are working to rescue stranded residents and provide aid amid ongoing severe conditions. India has intensified humanitarian operations in Sri Lanka under Operation Sagar Bandhu as the country struggles with severe flooding and landslides following Cyclone Ditwa. The Indian Air Force has deployed Mi-17 V5 helicopters in Colombo for rescue and relief missions, with transport aircraft ready to evacuate Indian nationals. Essential supplies, including food and medical aid, are being airlifted to affected communities. Meanwhile, the Indian Navy has deployed 4 helicopters, including 2 from the aircraft carrier INS Vikrant, rescuing stranded residents in areas such as Panala. The coordinated efforts of the Air Force and Navy aim to rescue civilians, deliver critical aid, and support Sri Lankan authorities in managing the ongoing disaster. Now, moving on, Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky says work continues after a major Russian attack targeting the country's energy infrastructure. During the assault, Ukrainian forces shot down nearly 560 drones and 19 missiles. Zelensky emphasized that strengthening air defenses remains Kyiv's #1 priority as authorities assess damage and restore power to affected areas. Let's take a short interlude and return to see more updates from the international arena. A harsh winter is posing a serious threat to thousands of displaced Gazans living in fragile tents. In eastern Gaza, Mai Hasuna and her 4 children struggle in a worn-out shelter after losing their home in the war. Last winter, Mai lost her young daughter to the cold and now fears a repeat tragedy. Nearby, Tahir Abu Jabal, mother of 7, says rain and freezing winds turn her tent into a waterfall, leaving children vulnerable to illness. With declining aid and scarce basic services, skin infections are spreading among children and families who cannot afford medicine or even clean water. The United Nations warns nearly 2 million displaced Palestinians face extreme hardship this winter, with limited aid deepening the crises. Rescue efforts continue after a major blaze affected more than 240 animals, including cats, dogs and turtles, according to the SPCA. So far, 92 animals have been saved, some injured, some deceased, and today firefighters rescued 3 more cats and a turtle. Volunteers are working tirelessly to treat the animals and reunite them with their owners. Near Kwonglai House, a temporary sign-up station helps families search for missing pets. Rescuers like Bon Chan, founder of Turtles Inn, are assessing and caring for recovered turtles, while volunteers like Cory Law urged owners to contact authorities quickly. The Animal Welfare Advocacy Alliance says supplies are sufficient and thanked all medical staff, veterinarians and volunteers for their support. Now, as harsh winter is putting thousands of displaced Gazans at risk and families struggle in fragile tents after losing their homes in the war, people are in need of drinking water and medical care as they have been infected by skin diseases and it's spreading and families cannot afford the treatment. China has begun real-world testing of key 6G technologies, marking a major step toward commercial deployment and integrated communication and sensing systems. At the 6G Proof of Concept Center in Nanjing, drones and robots are operating across zones equipped with smart antennas that combine communications and sensing in a single device, a capability that previously required separate systems. Researchers say this technology can cover over 10 times the area of 5G, enabling drones to transmit real-time high-definition video across long distances, even over lakes like Taihu. Experts believe 6G will soon enhance emergency response, environmental monitoring, and law enforcement, with scale deployment expected within the next 2 to 3 years. Now, U.S. citizen Jattery McBride, who once struggled with a life of distraction, has found peace and purpose through Shaolin martial arts, a traditional Chinese kung fu rooted in Zen philosophy. McBride, from Sacramento, California, credits the discipline and guidance of his shifu for helping him overcome alcohol, aimlessness, and personal struggles. In the documentary The Spirit of Shaolin by China Global Television Network, he explores the power of stillness and self-discipline, describing Kung Fu as the force that lifted him from the bottom and rebuilt him into a new person. It's time for Sports Update. Kathmandu Gorkhas have inched closer to confirm a place in the playoffs of the Nepal Premier League with a convincing 5-wicket win over Karnali Yaks. With the defeat, Karnali meanwhile has almost bowed out of the tournament from the league round. In the match at the TU Cricket Stadium today, Kathmandu chased the target of 150 runs in the 18th over, losing 5 wickets. Kathmandu, now second in the table, has 8 points, winning 4 matches and 2 defeats, while this was Karnali's 4th defeat in 5 matches. Sudhir Pashchim Royals, with 5 wins in 5 matches, sit at the top of the points table, while Biratnagar Kings, with 4 wins in 5 matches, are at the 3rd spot with 8 points. Now, before wrapping up, let's take a look at the headlines once again. Historic unity achieved in Nepal's divided diaspora, and RNA leaders sign agreement. Prime Minister calls for global collaboration. Final day for party registration ends in Nepal amid wave of new entrants from diverse backgrounds. At least 4 dead in a shooting at a child's birthday party in California. 10 others injured. US faces global backlash after Trump declares Venezuelan airspace completely closed, raising sovereignty concerns. Southeast Asia faces deadly floods, hundreds killed, millions displaced across Indonesia, Sri Lanka, Thailand, and Malaysia. And in NPL Kathmandu, Gorkhas inch closer to confirm place in the playoff, beat Karnali Yaks by 5 wickets. That is all for NTV World Primetime News for now. Do join us through our social media and get the latest updates from our official website, www.nepaltelevision.com. This is April Singh Lama signing off. Thank you for staying with us. Have a wonderful evening ahead.
Welcome to the studios of NTV World in Kathmandu, Public Service Broadcasting PSB Nepal's new initiative to make Nepal more visible and audible to the global audience. Welcome on board.
This is NTV World, facts that speak, insights that matter.
Telling the stories of a changing planet. NTV World, Nepal's perspective to the world.
Exploring the heartbeat of Nepali creativity. This is NTV World.
The power of story shaped by technology. NTV World.
Unearthing Nepal's hidden heritage. Discovering the timeless Nepal.
Telling stories that endure across centuries. Where culture breathes, stories bloom.
When the world moves, we make a sense of it. NTV World. Taste of Nepal. Every recipe, every flavor tells the story.
Journalism in the digital age. Fast, focused, verified.
Stories hold power. Stories reflecting life. Stories of the hinterlands.
Reporting for Public Service Broadcasting.
Reporting for NTV World.
This is NTV World. Welcome to News Hour.
This is NTV World. Welcome to Primetime News.
One story at a time.
Crossing borders, connecting voices, where Nepal meets the world in dialogue. This is NTV World, Nepal's perspective to the world.
Voices that connect Nepal to the world, bringing perspective, region and relevance to every story. NTV World, Nepal's perspective to the world.
Stand by. Mic is on.
3, 2, 1, cue.
We are NTV World.
A city known for its legacy, Kirtipur. Locals also call it Kipu in their own dialect. It is the largest ancient settlement after Kathmandu, Lalitpur and Bhaktapur. The city still has an impressive Malla era neighborhood. It is also home to Taudaha, the largest lake in the Kathmandu Valley. There are temples, monasteries, bihars, and stupas for both Hindu and Buddhist devotees, along with countless festivals and ritual celebrations that altogether give Kirtipur its distinct and special character. With its ancient Newar settlements, this place is a beautiful convergence of Newar culture and heritage. The 2nd century settlements here, the temples and the stupas, along with the legends and the faiths surrounding them, are fascinating. Situated beside the Kathmandu Valley, which once was a natural lake itself, Kirtipur developed as a flourishing hub of early settlement and culture. Because of this, the area is exceptionally valuable for historical and cultural study. A long time ago, the children of Kirtipur's farming families apparently made a clay tiger to play with while herding sheep and goats. To make that tiger look even more lifelike, they wanted to add a tongue. So they left their sheep and goats nearby and went into the forest to gather leaves. Upon returning, children found their sheep and goats missing. And when they investigated, the clay tiger opened its blood-red mouth and claimed to have eaten the animals. Apparently, what had happened was that the deity Bhairav, a Hindu deity, had entered the clay tiger. In their anger, the children then cursed the clay tiger so that its mouth would remain perpetually open. This is the famous legend behind the Bagh Bhairav temple as remembered by the residents of Kirtipur. Bagh Bhairav is the revered deity of Kirtipur's residents. Situated in Kirtipur, this temple is accompanied by several smaller temples, many of which can be traced back to the 2nd century according to the historical records. Among them are temples dedicated to Yamaleshwar, Narayan, Bhavani Shankar, Ramchandra, Manavinayak, Vishwakarma, Sridhar Vishnu and Mool Ganesh, all of which were constructed in the 2nd century as per many inscriptions. The historical records mention that the Bagh Bhairav temple, originally made by Shivadev, was again renovated in the 16th century by Jagatpal Varma into a 3-tiered pagoda style. This makes the temple a central attraction of Kirtipur. Most Newar settlements, which are one of Nepal's ethnic groups, are adorned with temples and stupas. So Kirtipur is home to countless temples and stupas as well, too many to count by hand. The Uma Maheshwar temple here is located at the highest point in Kirtipur. From here, one can take in panoramic views of the entire Kathmandu Valley. Swayambhu, an ancient Buddhist stupa, is clearly visible from this vantage point. It is said that the temple's elevation is roughly the same as that of Swayambhu's. On clear days, the world's highest peak, Mount Everest, can also be seen from here. Uma Maheshwar, representing the Hindu deities of Shiva and Parvati in another form, is considered a symbol of family happiness and love. The temple's tiered roofs, its design, the surrounding houses, and the views are not only beautiful but also reflect its historical significance. It is an excellent place to explore and spend an entire day. Kirtipur is special not only for Hindu devotees but also for Buddhists. Its stupas and bihars are ideal for the study, research, and promotion of Buddhism. The Chilancho Stupa, located atop the hill, is said by historians to have been built during Emperor Ashok's visit to Nepal. Its renovation, however, took place in the 16th century during the time of Jagatpal Varma. This site is ideal for prayer and meditation. It feels like Chilancho spreads wisdom along with its fluttering flags under the open sky. It is said that seeing the hills surrounding the Chilancho Stupa, Prithvi Narayan Shah, the 18th century king who unified Nepal, coveted Kirtipur. His attempts to capture Kirtipur, intended to make conquering Kathmandu, Bhaktapur and Patan easier, only succeeded on the third try.
किर्तिपुरको चाहिँ लोकेसन नै अलिकति स्ट्रेटेजिकली एकदम महत्त्वपूर्ण लोकेसनमा छ हैन किनभने किर्तिपुर अब पृथ्वीनारायण शाहलाई पनि के लाग्यो भने किर्तिपुर यो डाँडाकोमा छ डाँडामाथि छ डाँडामा चाहिँ एउटा त्यति बेला चाहिँ किल्लाको रूपमा पनि थियो हैन त्यो भएको नालले चाहिँ किर्तिपुर जित्यो भने अरु चाहिँ सजिलै जित्न सकिन्छ भन्ने खालको पृथ्वीनारायण शाहलाई पनि लागेको थियो हैन त्यसले गर्दाखेरि उले चाहिँ काठमाडौँ भ्यालीलाई वा काठमाडौँ यो जुन तीनवटा शहर र यो भ्यालीलाई आफ्नो कन्ट्रोलमा राख्न अगाडि सबभन्दा पहिला किर्तिपुरमा कन्ट्रोल लिन सक्यो भने यहाँबाट चाहिँ अनि चाहिँ अरु एरियामा चाहिँ सजिलैसँग कन्ट्रोलमा लिन सकिन्छ भन्ने हिसाबले चाहिँ उले चाहिँ यसलाई चाहिँ टार्गेट बनाएको हो एउटा कुरा त यो स्ट्रेटेजिकली उचाइमा परेको हुनाले र यसमा पनि यहाँको कोर बस्ती भनेको चाहिँ डाँडाबाट माथि आउनु पर्ने र त्यति बेला तपाईले सुन्न भए पनि होला किर्तिपुर चाहिँ पुरा गढ पर्खालले घेरिएको थियो त्यो घेरिएको हुनु र चाहिँ त्यहाँ चाहिँ 12 वटा ढोकाहरू चाहिँ थियो र 12 वटा ढोकाबाट मात्र प्रवेश गर्न सकिने त्यस्तो भएको हुनाले चाहिँ एउटा चाहिँ स्ट्रेटेजिकली एउटा चाहिँ यो कोटको रूपमा वा चाहिँ गढको रूपमा चाहिँ विकास भएको पाइन्छ फर्स्ट वारमा चाहिँ कालुपाँडे चाहिँ बर्ड भो कालुपाँडे मार्यो त्यसपछि चाहिँ के भनाइ छ भने किर्तिपुरहरूले चाहिँ कालुपाँडेको टाउको बोकेर हैन त्यहाँ चाहिँ जात्रा गरेको हामी जित्यौं भनेर जात्रा गर्यो भन्ने छ अब त्यो हिस्टोरिकल्ली छ कतिको फ्याक्ट छ थाहा छैन त्यसले गरेर त्यो भनेको चाहिँ त्यो पनि अब त्यो रिस्क त छ नि पृथ्वीनारायण शाहलाई अनि अर्को के छ भने सेकेन्ड वारमा चाहिँ फेरि चाहिँ आफ्नै भाइको चाहिँ आँखा फुटिएको छ हैन त्यसरी दुईपल्ट चाहिँ उनले चाहिँ एकदमै हार त्यो पनि हार पनि एकदमै हार मात्र हैन त्यो अब कालुपाँडेको टाउको बोकेर हैन पुरा खुसियालले मनाउनु भनेको त्यसले गरेको चाहिँ एकदमै त्यो ह्युमिलिएट भएको कारणले गर्दाखेरि पछि जब ऊ सत्तामा आयो भए चाहिँ जब उसले कन्ट्रोलमा लियो उसले चाहिँ बर्बर तरिकाले नै यो किटिपुरेहरूलाई पनि दुःख दिनुपर्छ भनेर दुःख दिएकै हो.
This stupa houses the Pancha Buddha, the depiction of 5 knowledge of Buddha. Facing east is Akshobhya, mounted on an elephant and with earth-touching gestures. Facing south is Ratnasambhav, mounted on a horse and showing the Varad Mudra, which is a gesture of generosity and granting boons. Facing north is Amitabh, seated on a peacock in the meditation mudra, symbolizing infinite light and compassion. Facing west is Amogha, seated on a Garud with the Nag hood in Abhay Mudra, a gesture of fearlessness and protection. At the center sits Vairochan, mounted on a lion and invisible, imparting profound knowledge of Buddhism. The presence of these 5 Buddhas is believed to guide those who have lost their way, whether it is in spiritual seeking or in travel. The stupas, vajras, and stone statues here are enchanting, capable of captivating visitors for hours. In Panga of Kirtipur, there is a cremation site. The deceased of the Panga community are cremated here, but this place is different from others. According to local tradition, one cannot stay behind after setting the body on fire. Normally, in other places in Hindu tradition, after the cremation, the ashes are collected after a process that can take up to hours. Here, however, bodies are covered with 9 pieces of wood for adults and 7 for children, along with water-soaked straw. Then the fire is lit before it is time to leave the site. This tradition is only for the people of Panga. Next to the burial ground stands the Vishnu Devi temple, one of the several Shakti Peeth or sacred power sites of the people of Kirtipur. The area is peaceful and known for its spiritual atmosphere. Kirtipur is not only famous for its monasteries and chaityas, it is also rich in history and culture. This place is known for its year-round festivals, rituals, and vibrant cultural way of life. Among the important festivals are the Satgaunle Jatra, Gai Jatra, Bagh Bhairav Jatra, and Indrayani Jatra. On the day of Gai Jatra, a special dance is performed here. The Dhya Dhya Papa dance, also called Katmar, is a ceremonial performance where dancers in unique costumes move to traditional music. It is an integral part of Kirtipur's cultural identity. Here, visitors can also find various hotels, homestays, and Newari restaurants. The Newari-style houses and pathways decorated with traditional materials are truly captivating, and the popular Newari restaurants, which draw people from all around, are plentiful. A beautiful example of Newari culture is Newari food, which include famous dishes like bara, yumari, and samay bhaji. And visitors relish these dishes with great enjoyment.
अनि अरु भनेको यो सफु मिजा पनि विशेष मान्छेले रुचाउने समय बजी बारा विभिन्न मान्छे पछि फरक छ तर विशेष चाहिँ समय बजी सफु मिजा भेरे आउनुहुन्छ अनि छाङ रक्सी विशेष यहाँको गहना जस्तै नै नेवालानामा यहाँको छाङ रक्सी भनेको एकदमै ओरिजिनल हैन ओरिजिनालिटी भएर चाहिँ मान्छेहरु यहाँको खानामा या छाङ रक्सीमा पनि कुनै मिसावट नभएको चाहिँ प्रुफ भएर चाहिँ सबै मान्छे छाङ खानाको लागि पनि आउनुहुन्छ समय बजीमा अब 12 थरी छन् हैन त्यो पनि हाम्रो शरीरको अर्गानिकमा सबै ठाउँमा चाहिँ सबैमा चाहिने हामी यो विशेष हाम्रो चाहिँ एउटा चाहिँ के भनौं शुभ दिनमा चाहिँ हामी यो पूजा सजा गरेर समयबजी खाने चलन छ नि यो खाली पेटमा हैन त्यो भनेको एउटा राम्रो स्वास्थ्यको लागि एकदमै राम्रो समयबजी भयो अनि भोज चाहिँ हाम्रो एकदमै वैज्ञानिकता हैन अब एकदमै राम्रो तरिकाले चाहिँ नेवारी भोज चाहिँ खुवाउने गर्छौं हामी विशेष यहाँदेखि यो पाचन शक्तिलाई पनि एकदमै ध्यानमा राखेर चाहिँ यो पछि यो भनेर तातो चिसो मिलाएर चाहिँ अन्त्यसम्म चाहिँ खुवाउने चाहिँ एकदमै शरीरको लागि चाहिँ साइन्टिफिक प्रुफ नै छ के हाम्रो खानामा चाहिँ
Just before entering Kirtipur, you arrive at another beautiful spot, Taudaha. Known for its environmental, cultural, and religious significance, this pond stretches about 500 meters in length and 400 meters in width. It is said to be shaped like a funnel. Believed to be dwelling place of Karkotak Nag, a serpent king in Hindu-Buddhist mythology. This lake is closely linked to the legends of Manjushri, a Hindu-Buddhist mythological figure, and the Rato Machindranath Jatra. According to the folklore, when the Kathmandu Valley was still a lake, Manjushri cut open the hills to draw the water. The serpents living there were left without a home, so Bhimsen, a powerful heroic figure in Nepali folklore, created Taudaha to shelter them. The famous photo or vest displayed during the Rato Machindranath Jatra also traces its origins to Karkotak Nagraj and Taudaha. Legend says the vest belonged to Karkotak Nagraj, who gifted it to a farmer after the farmer cured his sick serpent queen.
हाम्रो भ्याली चाहिँ एउटा लेक थियो भन्ने चाहिँ छ अनि त्यो लेक हुँदाखेरि चाहिँ अब मञ्जुश्री चाहिँ आइपुग्नु भयो यो काठमाडौँ भ्यालीमा अनि उहाँले चाहिँ अब यहाँ चाहिँ तपाईको मानव बस्ती बसाउँछु भनेर एउटा सोच राख्नुभयो त्यो क्रममा चाहिँ तपाईको जुन एउटा भ्याली चाहिँ लेक थियो अनि त्यसपछि त्यहाँ तपाईको बीचमा एउटा कमलको फूल थियो अनि त्यसबाट चाहिँ स्वयम्भूनाथ चाहिँ स्थापना भयो भनेर चाहिँ हाम्रो त्यसलाई रिलेट गर्दाखेरि चाहिँ अनि तपाईको मञ्जुश्रीले चाहिँ यो ठाउँमा चाहिँ मानव बस्ती बसाउनको लागि तपाईको यो चोबार हाम्रो चोबारको गलछेडो चाहिँ काट्नु भयो अनि त्यसपछि त्यो कमलको फूल चाहिँ तपाईको स्वयम्भू भयो अनि त्यसपछि त्यो गलछेडोबाट चाहिँ तपाईको अब सबै पानी सँगसँगै पानीमा हुने सबै चीज बगेर जाने भयो अनि त्यो चाहिँ तपाईको नागहरू पनि त्यसमा पर्यो अनि नाग चाहिँ तपाईको त्यो नाग गएपछि चाहिँ अब यो पानी नपर्ने खडेरी लाग्ने तपाईको विभिन्न हिस्ट्री किम्वदन्ती अनुसार तपाईको अनि त्यो हुन्छ भनेर चाहिँ हाम्रो कर्कोटक नाग राजालाई चाहिँ तपाईको यहाँ ल्याएर चाहिँ मञ्जुश्रीले स्थापना गर्नुभयो भन्ने चाहिँ एउटा किम्वदन्ती छ मसिन्द्रनाथ चाहिँ तपाईको पानीको देवता भनेर पनि चिन्छौँ हामीले पानीको लागि चाहिँ मसिन्द्रनाथको पूजा गर्ने यो हाम्रो जात्रा गर्ने यो चाहिँ तपाईको त्योसँग भयो। अनि प्लस तपाईँको त्यो जुन मच्छिन्द्रनाथको तपाईँको भोटो चाहिँ जुन भोटो चाहिँ त्यो जात्रामा देखाइन्छ त्यो भोटो पनि हाम्रो यहाँको नागले चाहिँ तपाईँको दिनुभएको भन्ने चाहिँ एउटा किंवदन्ती छ। त्यो चाहिँ तपाईँको यहाँको नागको चाहिँ तपाईँको एउटा किसानले चाहिँ उपचार गरिदिनु भएको थियो आँखाको। अनि त्यो उपचार गरिदिएपछि चाहिँ त्यो चाहिँ तपाईँको एउटा गिफ्ट यो भोटो चाहिँ तपाईँलाई भनेर किसानलाई दिनुभएको थियो। र त्यो किसान चाहिँ तपाईँको काम गर्दा गर्दै खेतमा बारीमा एउटा काम गर्दा गर्दै तपाईँको त्यो भोटो राखेर तपाईँको काम गरिरहँदाखेरि चाहिँ एउटा भूतले चाहिँ तपाईँको त्यो भोटो चोरेर लग्यो अरे। अनि त्यसपछि त्यो भोटो चाहिँ तपाईँको चोरेर लाँदाखेरि अनिखेरि त्यो खोज्दाखेरि अब कहीँ पत्ता लागेन। अनि एक दिन चाहिँ यही जात्रामा तपाईँको जात्रामा गइराख्दाखेरि चाहिँ तपाईँको त्यो भोटो लगाएर आएको चाहिँ देखेर त्यो किसानले अनि मेरो भोटो भनेर त्यहाँ अब वार भयो भनौँ न। अनि त्यसपछि त्यो भोटो चाहिँ अनि त्यसपछि त्यहाँ जस मच्छिन्द्रनाथले चाहिँ लिएर यो चाहिँ प्रमाण जसले ल्याउन सक्छ भोटोको मेरो हो भनेर उसैको हुन्छ यो भोटो भनेर चाहिँ तपाईँको त्यो मच्छिन्द्रनाथको जात्रामा चाहिँ हाम्रो त्यो भोटो देखाउने चलन छ र त्यसलाई चाहिँ त्यसरी रिलेटेड छ यो चाहिँ हामीसँग।
Taudaha is rich not only in religious and cultural significance but also in biodiversity. The area is home to 38 species of plants, 36 species of insects, and 116 types of birds. Swans gliding across the lake, birds perched in nearby trees, colorful fish swimming below, and small snakes seen occasionally along the banks. All of it make it easy to lose track of time while observing this vibrant ecosystem. In winter, birds migrate here from Siberia, Mongolia, and Tibet to escape the cold. Species such as lahari, kalihas, khoya, malak, and birds like great cormorant and Indian pond heron are also found here at Taudaha. These migratory birds travel thousands of kilometers from various countries to reach this lake. As a wetland area, Taudaha hosts water, land, vegetation, aquatic animals, amphibians, and other wildlife all in one place. For this reason, the lake attracts everyone from casual tourists to students conducting research.
स्वदेशी पर्यटकहरू चाहिँ महिनामा मैले भन्नुपर्दा एभरेजमा भन्छु हैन 10 देखि 15,000 सम्म आउनुहुन्छ। विदेशी पर्यटकहरू पनि आउनुहुन्छ 500 देखि महिनामा 1000 सम्म आन्तरिक पर्यटकहरू आउनुहुन्छ। अनि हाम्रो यो पुष माघ जुन जाडो सिजन हुन्छ नि त्यसमा चाहिँ यो बच्चाहरूको यो शैक्षिक भ्रमणमा आउने बच्चाहरू चाहिँ धेरै त्यो सिजनमा चाहिँ धेरै बच्चाहरू ल्याउनुहुन्छ। अनि अघि पछि पनि हाम्रो शैक्षिक भ्रमणमा बच्चाहरू स्कुलबाट पनि आउनुहुन्छ। अनि प्लस यो अब कलेजका विद्यार्थीहरू जुन इन्भाइरोमेन्ट साइन्स पढ्ने विद्यार्थीहरू हुन्छन् हैन त्यस्ता पनि अब यो पानीको माछाको यिनीहरूको पनि रिसर्च गर्न पनि विद्यार्थीहरू आउनुहुन्छ। यहाँ नेपालीलाई चाहिँ पर पर्सन 30 रुपैयाँ छ, विदेशीलाई 50 रुपैयाँ। अनि हाम्रो जुन स्कुल कलेजबाट शैक्षिक भ्रमणमा आउनुहुन्छ नि उहाँहरूलाई चाहिँ हामीले 50% डिस्काउन्ट दिन्छौँ।
As tourist numbers increase, so have vendors selling fish feed around Taudaha. These traders who stay around the lake from morning to evening occasionally also encounter snakes. But believing the snakes to represent Karkotak Nagraj, the traders drive them away by just burning incense.
बिहान 10 बजेतिर आउँछु अनि 5 बजेसम्म बस्छु। अब कहिले 10 किलो निस्किदिन्छ, कहिले 5 किलो, कहिले अब यस्तै 1-2 किलो मात्रै जान्छ। म बसेको चाहिँ भयो 14 वर्ष भयो। अब पहिला भनेको व्यापार त्यति हुन्थेन। अब अहिले भनेको जस बिहान बेलुका खानालाई चाहिँ पुग्छ। दिनको कहिले 1000-1200 नि हुन्छ, कहिले 2000-2500 नि हुन्छ, कहिले 1-200 हुन्छ, कहिले 20 रुपैयाँ मात्रै नि हुन्छ। त्यो चाहिँ हुँदैन। जस सँगाली राख्दाखेरि महिनामा 8-10 हजार चाहिँ हुन्छ। परारको साल कताबाट सर्बो आए देखिन मैले हैन। पछि चाहिँ मेरो डडालामा आइपुग्यो त्यो सर्बो। अनि म डढाइ मैले आँखा चिम्ली अनि सुल्ल आफै सर्बो चाहिँ उता तलतिर गयो पोखरीतिरै।
Just before reaching Taudaha, Chobar is a unique tourist spot in Kirtipur. Manjushri Park here is one of the popular picnic destinations. The cave, Chobar Gorge, Suspension Bridge, Jalvinayak Temple and Adinath Lokeshwar Temple are all must-visit sites. This gorge is said to be where Manjushri cut the hills to drain water from the Kathmandu Valley, making it suitable for human settlement. Therefore, this place holds historical and mythological significance. Jalvinayak Temple is located along the Bagmati River. Among Kathmandu Valley's 4 main Ganesh temples, Surya Vinayak, Chandra Vinayak and Ashok Vinayak, Jalvinayak is one of them. It is built in traditional pagoda style. Toran or archways, tudal or roof struts, and gajur or pinnacles enhance its architectural beauty. So this temple is significant both for religious faith and for historical and architectural value. Spread over 14.76 square kilometers, Kirtipur has many places to explore, which cannot be fully visited in a single day. Its heritage, lifestyle, and festivals are all unique. To guide tourists before visiting, a tourist information and service center has been established. It lies near the Kirtipur's entry point. This center provides information about major tourist attractions and helps make the visit easier. Exploring Kirtipur's historical, religious, cultural, and natural sites is incredibly enchanting. These sites are witnesses to history. For research and study, visiting Kirtipur is essential. The local lifestyle, daily life, the breeze, and the scent of the soil here, all of it are very special. In modern times, as ancient civilizations threaten to vanish, Kirtipur strives to maintain its ancient identity. Its monasteries, temples, chaityas, ponds, markets, and even the language reflect this heritage. Kirtipur is not just a tourist destination. It offers experiences of meditation and knowledge, and of peace and beauty. Its stories and hospitality attract everyone. To witness and feel the unique confluence of history, culture, and nature, visiting Kirtipur is a must, not just once, but again and again.
Welcome to NTV World Insight. In September this year, the country faced its worst unrest in decades, leading to Prime Minister's resignation and raising serious political and economic uncertainty. Nepal's growth has averaged just 4.3% in recent years. Youth unemployment is almost 23%, and a significant portion of GDP comes from remittances, which have prevented around 2.5 million people from falling into poverty. Public investment remains weak, with capital spending at less than 8% of the GDP last year, far below the 10 to 15% that is expected for infrastructure. A recent report by the World Bank has projected economic growth will go down to 2.1% in 2026 before rebounding to 4.7% the year later. Today we discuss how Nepal can restore stability, accelerate reforms and unlock growth with the World Bank Division Director for Nepal, Maldives and Sri Lanka, David Sislin. Welcome to NTV World Insight.
Great to see you again, Sarah.
How long has it been since you came to Nepal, personally or professionally altogether?
It's been just about 18 months so far. It's been the best 18 months of my professional career, and yeah, lots of changes in that 18 months. So very different Nepal today in many respects from a political point of view particularly than what I encountered when I moved here a year and a half ago.
So we've hosted you quite well.
It's been fantastic, absolutely.
When you are free, what do you like doing here in Nepal?
Look, I am an avid golfer, so I spend a lot of time at Gokarna hitting golf balls and cursing because it's a very difficult place to play golf. And I ride my motorcycle around a little bit, and mostly I spend a lot of time reading about Nepal, its history, its politics, and learning as much as I can about this incredible place.
Apart from golf, is there any other place that you really like to hit to?
You know, I would say that since I'm here without my family and I'm here alone, many of the bartenders in Kathmandu know me well. So I do spend some time out with my friends, enjoying the incredible nightlife in the city.
All right, to begin with, the country partnership framework, the $2.7 billion support project for Nepal. How is it going so far?
Oh, thanks. That's a great question. Look, the World Bank has a long-term partnership with Nepal. We've been here for more than 60 years. We currently have a portfolio program of about $2.2 billion spread across almost 20 projects, ranging from health to education to infrastructure to youth employment. And that has really, I think, reflects the deep engagement that we have in the country. Our new program that, as we talked about the last time you and I saw each other, is a long-term commitment, a 7-year commitment to the country, is really exciting, mostly because it focuses laser-like on what we think is the most critical issue for the country, and that is jobs. Jobs for youth, but jobs more broadly. Getting an economy that is really driving growth through the private sector and creating jobs is so central to the development challenges of Nepal, and I think we learned a lot about that in September, right? How just truly critical it is. In this coming year, I'll just say that we are really excited because we have a couple of operations that we really think will help jumpstart the jobs agenda. So working with the DCGF, the Development Credit Guarantee Facility, a major investment program in Lumbini, the birthplace of Buddha, and some really exciting work that we hope to start in the coming months around improving air quality in the Kathmandu Valley. So really exciting times, lots of work ahead.
Nepal's public debt, as mentioned in your latest report, is increasing from 43.6% in 2025 to 45.2% in 2026. May I ask how much Nepal currently owes the World Bank, and as a Nepali citizen, how much do I, as an individual, owe to the World Bank?
Let me try to put in a little bit of context, though. I think we're at a time where Nepalis are very critical of the public sector and very critical of the government. But I think one of the things that Nepal and Nepalis should be incredibly proud of is the steady, mature, and really world-class macroeconomic management that has taken place over the last decade. Nepal remains at low risk of debt distress. This means that compared to other countries, compared to comparator countries, it is actually doing very well in terms of not borrowing too much money. That increase that you said, a little bit up, is something to be conscious of and to be focused on. But the biggest challenge in Nepal is not the amount of debt, but turning that debt into productive investment, making sure that when you are borrowing from the World Bank or the ADB or the markets or Nepalis themselves, that you are really making able to make investments that deliver returns. Now, Nepal, yes, the overall amount of debt that the Republic of Nepal has increased a little bit, but the profile of that debt is very concessional. It's extremely long-term, and the bulk of it, especially the bulk of the international debt, is coming from multilateral development institutions like the World Bank and the ADB. So that's extremely long-term, 30-plus year debt at very, very concessional rates. So there's good debt and there's bad debt, but the most important thing, as I mentioned, is turning that debt, turning that borrowing into development results. And I think that a lot of what we saw in September is frustration, especially among the youth, about not seeing those investments materialize and turn into the kind of results that drive growth and development.
How has it been for you working with the bureaucracy in the government? Is it easy?
Not a question I was expecting from you, Sarah, but thanks for asking. Look, I am amazed every day at the dedication, hard work, and commitment of the civil servants and people in the system, both the politicians and the civil servants. And I say that honestly. Now, I feel sometimes that they're fighting against a system that is overly complex, that is overly difficult to manage. So one of the, I just give an example. It is so difficult to get infrastructure built in Nepal. It just simply takes so long. And that's not because good people of goodwill in the system are not working really hard, because they are working really hard and trying really hard, but the rules are too complex, they're Byzantine. I give the example because we talk about it a lot, but in Nepal, to get a tree cutting clearance, if you want to widen a road or build a piece of critical infrastructure, requires a cabinet approval. There are few countries, I would suspect there is no country in the world where the prime minister needs to weigh in on the cutting of a few trees so that you can widen a critical piece of infrastructure. So I really think that part of the challenge for Nepal is making the kind of policy, legal, institutional, and regulatory reforms that will actually allow those people in the system to deliver the kind of development results that Nepalis are asking for.
When you talk about the tree cutting requirement, conservationists would not accept it, or they would conflict.
Look, there's been Nepal is one of the most successful countries in increasing its forest cover, right? The increase in forest cover from the 1970s to today, I forget what the number is, but has been world-class. We're now at a time where actually Nepal's biggest challenge is not in increasing its forest cover, but in doing two things: converting that incredible assets of forests into productive use, and second, making the kind of infrastructure investments that will allow growth and development to really take off. You talked about the growth rate of being at 4.3% in your intro. That is simply too low. Nepal needs to get to that 7 and 8% of growth rate if it wants to reach escape velocity, to get out of this lower income and soon to be lower middle income world that it's living in.
The non-performing loan ratio increased from 3.9% to 4.6% in 2025. What immediate steps would you suggest Nepal should take to reduce the financial sector's vulnerabilities?
Right, so great question, and this is really about the domestic financial sector, the domestic banks. I think it's important to put in, so yes, we've seen a little bit of an uptick in non-performing loans, and this is troubling. But we do need to put in the context. The banking sector in Nepal is quite healthy. Capital adequacy ratios are high and acceptable, and profitability remains solid. But this increase in NPLs, in non-performing loans, is troubling because it starts to constrain credit growth. And we know that credit growth, lending to private enterprise for making investments and building businesses, is central to the development trajectory in the country. So a little bit troubling. Overall, not a worrying situation in the banking sector right now, but I think it underpins the broader challenge in the country, which is that we don't see investment, either by the public sector or by the private sector, and here we're talking about the private sector largely, as being enough and fast enough. So making sure that, that remittance money that's coming in is really being translated into investment and not just consumption. Investment levered by banking loans and not just consumption.
These are all very interconnected. Remittances support our economy, yes.
Absolutely.
But we're trying to also raise jobs. How do we come about, changing the scenario for Nepal? Because definitely, if we continue to be dependent on remittances, it's not going to be sustainable.
Well, you've touched on what I really think, Sarah, is the central story in the Nepali economy. Okay, and it's nuanced. It has good and bad. It's not black or white. Let's be very clear. Nepal has reduced extreme poverty faster than almost any country in human history. So when I started my career in the World Bank, extreme poverty in Nepal was 55%. And today it is 0.37%. It's almost zero extreme poverty. That's at a low level. And that has happened almost exclusively because of this remittance flow. Last month, 200 billion rupee, about $1.5 billion US dollars, came in remittances, right? This is $2 million US dollars per hour, 24 hours a day, 7 days a week for a month. I mean, a remarkable story. But it hasn't translated into investments, private sector growth, and job creation that we really wanted to see. It's not a bad thing, remittances. It has been the lifeline of the country. It has been the backbone of the country's growth and development story. But as this country becomes more urbanized, as people are having less babies, as that demographic bulge starts to pivot, it will be really important to translate or translate into a situation where jobs are created in the country. We have 2,000 young Nepalis a day leaving the country to work abroad. So you asked me about my time here in Nepal, so I've been here for 18 months, and you can do the math. If 2,000 Nepalis a day are leaving the country, in the short 18 months that I've lived in Bulanilkanta, almost 800,000 Nepalis have left the country to work abroad. So this is something that has been the lifeline of the country and will continue to be very important, but we really need to complement it with opportunities in Nepal. We need to give young Nepalis the choice. Do you want to go work abroad, or do you want to pursue a career with good opportunities here in the country? So I really think this is the central challenge of the economy.
When we talk about the use of remittances, the contribution and the importance that it holds, where do you think is the gap in actually using it in sectors that could materialize into something bigger?
Great. It's a great question. I don't have the answer. What is clear is that massive remittance flow that we talked about, and again, remittances are about 50 times the amount of ODA, of money that comes from the World Bank and the ADB and development partners. So it's 50 times more money every year is coming in remittances, but right now it's mostly being used for consumption. And that's been fantastic. It's paying for private schools, it's paying for private health care, it is paying for your cousin's scooter or your mother's scooter or a television or putting food on the table. But what we're not seeing it translate into is Nepalis whose son, daughter, cousin, mother is abroad taking that money and making productive investments. Because I think there's such concern about the difficulty in running a business in the country. The business environment is not what it should be. That is so challenging. So turning that remittance flow into both productive private investment and also making sure that the government can make use of those resources to make productive public investment is the investment challenge.
Growth is projected to fall to 2.1% in 2026 before recovering to 4.7% in 2027. What do you think can be done to cushion in the short run this downturn?
Right. So we are regrettably projecting a quite significant downturn in growth, largely as a result of the events of September. And the main channel of that has been through the tourism sector. Right, we're seeing a significant decrease in tourism. I think it was down 18% in September and into October, and really expecting that if we see a smooth and peaceful political transition, and if we see the continuation of a serious reform agenda to make that business environment that we just talked about more compelling, to attract foreign direct investment, to reduce red tape, to get much more clarity on issues like taxation and customs, that we would see a return to a significantly higher level of growth. We're projecting 4.7 in next year, but still that remains too low, right? I mean, we really need to think about how Nepal can get to that 7, 8, 9% growth rate. There are some really exciting green shoots, really exciting things that we're seeing happening, particularly in the IT space. So in the last few weeks, we saw the first Nepali firm listed on the NASDAQ, right? This is incredibly exciting stuff. More of that faster is what Nepal really needs.
Public capital stock fell about 75% of the GDP in the mid-1990s to about 54% in 2019. Is this drop alarmingly concerning for our country?
Look, it's definitely a problem. We know globally that there are really two factors that drive economic growth. The growth in the public capital stock and what we call total factor productivity, or how you turn your factors like capital, like your people, into productive assets. And on both of these fronts, Nepal has some significant challenges, right? The big issues in the education system that we know about, that means that our human capital is not delivering, and a downturn in the investment, in capital investment, reflected in the budget, and also how much of the government money is actually spent, that has been a real problem. So we've seen the actual execution of the public investment. So when the government budgets 100, the amount that they actually are able to spend over the course of a year has actually come down over time. So not only is the government budgeting less for capital investment, but it's spending less of the money that it's budgeted. And so as a result, fewer roads are getting built, fewer airports are getting upgraded, fewer hospitals and schools, and all of the kind of critical infrastructure that we know makes up that capital stock is actually being delivered for the Nepali people.
Foreign direct investment inflows also remain subdued in recent years. What do you think can Nepal do to attract more investment, especially considering all the political uncertainty and also considering the Gen Z movement?
Yeah, I think the troubling issue with foreign direct investment in Nepal is that the low levels of FDI today are not a reflection of the events of September. It has been a really troubling trajectory of very, very low levels of FDI over time. And this is something, again, we talked a little bit about this. We want to see Nepalis invest in Nepal, but bringing technology and investment from abroad is actually really central to getting that total factor productivity that I talked about raised. And we see very, very low levels of it. And there's a number of reasons for it, right? One is political and policy uncertainty. If I'm a foreign investor and I'm not sure if the government is going to change in 3 months, 6 months, 9 months, or multiple times over the next year, I'm going to be hesitant to invest. So political stability and policy stability is really critical. Clarity on issues like taxes is really critical. Honoring the trade agreements that the country has is really critical. So giving the policy environment that people are willing to make the investments in, willing to take my money from abroad and put into Nepal, is absolutely central. The poor quality of infrastructure in the country remains a major drag on things like foreign direct investment. I give you an example. 28% of agricultural production is lost in transit inside Nepal just because of the poor quality of infrastructure, the lack of storage, etc. So if I'm a foreign investor thinking about making a major agribusiness investment, am I going to choose Nepal, where the roads, the bridges, the airports, the quality of infrastructure is so poor, or am I going to think about somewhere else where my money is safer because of the lack of capital stock? So it really, many of the questions that you've asked really have this thread that ties through them. Right?
So this is recent. Some time back, the World Bank, through IDA, ADB and Switzerland launched a 3-year partnership to strengthen Nepal's disaster risk management and build climate-resilient infrastructure. How will this partnership move forward, and who will it benefit?
Super excited about it because the our collaboration with the ADB particularly is a centerpiece of our engagement here. I think that's something that is very important. We really try to work as one team to support the government of Nepal in its development journey. And we've been really fortunate to be able to partner with the government of Switzerland, who's been providing a significant amount of grant resources around this issue of climate change, climate adaptation, being able to deal with disaster risk in a more sustainable and thoughtful way. So Nepal is one of the countries that is most exposed to disaster risk, both from earthquakes but also from things like flooding. And so being able to partner with Switzerland and the ADB in embedding thoughtful disaster risk management approaches in all of the infrastructure, both that we finance but that the government supports, is very important. We talked earlier about the CPF. Our CPF has two and only two foci. One is jobs that we talked about, and the second is reducing the risks from natural disasters. So these are really two pillars of our engagement here at the World Bank in Nepal.
The World Bank has approved $150 million for the Third Bridges Improvement and Maintenance Program. The goal, as mentioned, is to build climate-resilient bridges with real-time monitoring to make critical road networks safer and more reliable, especially in disaster-prone areas. How is the project rolling so far?
Just started, but I think the story on bridges is a great one. Again, I think too much we focus on all the problems. We really need to focus on the fact that from 2012 to 2024, the World Bank supported the maintenance and construction of over 44,000 bridges throughout the country. So this new bridge program builds on 12 years of real success on doing that. I think what's exciting about this one is that we really are bringing these issues around disaster risk management and resilience much more centrally into how we think about how the government plans, builds, and maintains its infrastructure.
David, thank you so much for being on NTV World Insight.
Thanks so much.
And thank you too for watching the show. Do join us on our social media pages. We are on Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, Twitter, and also on YouTube. And also visit our official website, nepaltelevision.com, for more news and information. Until next time.
AI brings in a lot of augmentation and efficiency gains, which will not necessarily replace the human, but produce a lot more efficient human, almost like a superhuman, where the person will be able to do more jobs in less amount of time. And that efficiency gains could impact overall economic output, which could then generate a lot more new kind of jobs.
Will they be a misfit in near future?
More and more people should learn how to use some of these tools, because if you don't use it, I don't know if misfit is the word, but you will be left behind.
Heaven above and angels below. This is the essence of Ruby Valley. Nestled in the northern part of Nepal's Dhading district, Ruby Valley is a hidden jewel surrounded on all sides by majestic mountain ranges. The landscape here is a feast for the eyes. White rhododendron blossoms paint the hillsides and sprawling rice fields shimmer under the sunlight. At about 300 kilometers from Kathmandu, the valley is a serene retreat, rich in culture, tradition, and natural beauty. Reaching Ruby Valley involves a remarkable trek that starts with a scenic journey from Kathmandu through Nuwakot and Rasua, winding towards the base of Ganesh Himal, the towering peak that watches over this land. The trek leads through dense pine and oak forests, terraced farmlands, and vibrant local villages like Tipling, home to the Tamang community. These people live in harmony with nature, cultivating crops and raising livestock while keeping their rich traditions alive, welcoming visitors with warm hospitality and cultural performances. The striking Pangsang Pass at 3,800 meters marks a stunning milestone on the route, offering panoramic views of the green-clad hills and distant Himalayan ranges. Below, forests of tall sal trees stand as silent guardians. As travelers traverse this landscape, they witness local women harvesting crops, hear the heartfelt songs sung by villagers in the fields, and feel the essence of a life deeply connected to the land. The daily sight of Ganesh Himal inspires awe and a sense of peace that visitors carry with them. Ruby Valley lies in the heart of the Himalayas, surrounded by some of Nepal's most famous mountain ranges, Manaslu, Annapurna, Langtang and Ganesh Himal itself. This geographic embrace creates breathtaking scenery at every turn. Yak caravans and mule trains add a touch of timeless charm to the trekking experience, enhancing the rustic beauty of this remote land. The village of Chalis, nestled in the lap of Ganesh Himal, is a cultural crossroads for the Gurung community. Visitors witness their unique traditions, hear their folk songs by evening fires, and enjoy their vibrant dances, which invite travelers to connect on a deeper level. The journey continues beyond the villages to sacred sites like Tatopani Kunda, where natural hot springs offer spiritual purification and healing waters believed to renew body and soul. From there, hikers embark on a challenging yet rewarding trek to the holy Ganesh Kunda, a glacial pond named after Lord Ganesh. This pristine water body mirrors the majestic peaks around it, creating an ethereal panorama that captivates all those who visit. With peaks ascending over 7,400 meters, Ganesh Himal stands as a guardian of this sacred valley. Ruby Valley is more than a destination. It is an invitation to experience Nepal's untouched nature, vibrant cultures, and spiritual heritage all in one journey. For those seeking a unique adventure off the beaten path, Ruby Valley offers an unparalleled blend of breathtaking landscapes, warm hospitality, and rich traditions that make it one of Nepal's top destinations for international and domestic travelers.
What if I told you a story of a place shrouded in mystery and steeped in stones? A place where warriors were born and raised and their path through the mountains still remain to this day. Ajirkot Gorkha, the unbeaten kingdom.
हामी पाहुनाहरू आउनु हुँदाखेरि हामी यसरी स्वागत गर्छौं अनि अलि-अलि नाचगानहरू देखाउँछौं मेरो सिंहो नेपाल गाउने कि गोरखामा गर्व लाग्छ जन्मिएछु साथै स्वर्गमा म त नेपालकी छोरी भन्छन् गोरखाली जस्तो घाटु चुड्काहरू भन्ने चाहिँ विशेष गरी हुन्छ यहाँ
For those seeking a luxurious escape, there are stunning lodges that offer an indulgent retreat amidst the rugged beauty of this place. But for the true adventurers, this place has it all, from trekking through dense forest of Nagepokari trails to exploring ancient temples and learning the rich history of the region. So, what do you fancy? Are you the solo explorer, or do you prefer luxury within nature? Or perhaps you are the one who seeks to witness it all. Well, after all, life is a box of chocolates, and this place is filled with surprises. Welcome to the place where magic and reality intertwine, where the wonders of nature are both breathtaking and awe-inspiring. From the elevations of 300 meters to a towering 8,000 meters, this place will leave you mesmerized and in awe.
In the high mountains, where the air thins and silence deepens, an ancient discipline endures. More than art, this is meditation in motion. A prayer woven into canvas, finding the divine within. This is Thanka.
थाङ्का भने चाहिँ त्यो समतल भूमि भने हो के हैन त्यो स्पेस भने हो त्यो रेसेमा पनि तपाईले सेतो गणमा स्पेस देख्यो नि हैन हो त्यसमा चाहिँ का लेख्ने भने चाहिँ बुद्धको वचन लेख्ने भने हो के त्यो बुद्धको वचन बागल चाहिँ त्यो चाहिँ शुद्ध छ हैन राम्रो छ त्यसले चाहिँ मानव जीवनलाई चाहिँ कल्याण मानव जीवनलाई मात्र नभएर प्राणी जगतलाई नै चाहिँ कल्याण गर्ने चिज हो थाङ्का त्यही भएर चाहिँ जीवन जिउनेसँग चाहिँ रिलेटेड छ भनेर भने हो त्यो चाहिँ पञ्चतत्त्वको रूपमा चाहिँ त्यो चिनाएर त्यो तत्त्वलाई त्यो ठाउँमा जानुपर्छ भनेरको यो त आशयको रूपमा चाहिँ लगेको हुन्छ
Thanka painting is more than art. It's devotion on canvas, rooted in Buddha philosophy, traditions, and shaped by centuries of Buddhist influence. Each stroke tells a story of enlightenment.
This is not from painter's own mind. This is from the book. So painters, they have to strictly follow the rules. Through meditation, we can understand our true nature. And when we understand our true nature, we understand everybody. And our true nature is compassion. Our true nature is wisdom. And when we practice these things, we find peace, and that peace is permanent.
Thanka painting is not merely creation. It is consecration, rooted in Buddhist philosophy and perfected through centuries. Each brushstroke carries the weight of a mantra. Each color a fragment of enlightenment.
खाइबो भन्छ हामीले चाहिँ आर्टिस्टलाई त्यो खाइबाले चाहिँ किन आएर चाहिँ ढोग्यो भन्दाखेरि चाहिँ तीनचोटी ढोग्यो त्यो शरण गमन गरे हो के म बुद्धको शरणमा छु भन्ने हो त्यो चाहिँ बुद्ध चित्त उत्पाद गर्ने भन्छ के चित्त तपाईको शुद्ध हुनु पर्यो हैन त्यो शुद्ध भएर लेखेको थाङ्गाले चाहिँ अरूलाई पनि राम्रो गर्ने पनि सबै प्राणी हितको लागि चाहिँ यो मैले गरेको लेखेको बुद्ध वचनले चाहिँ उहाँहरूलाई चाहिँ राम्रो होस् भन्ने आशयका साथ चाहिँ छोड्नु पर्छ कि हो यसरी चाहिँ लेखेको हुन्छ थाङ्गा चाहिँ
The Thanka is a visual sculpture, a spiritual map to transcendence. Every artist begins not with imagination, but with surrender to discipline, devotion, and compassion for all living beings. To paint is to meditate. To complete is to awaken. In today's studios, the old and the new converge. Tutors like Sushan Subedi introduce curious travelers to ancient grammar of lines and color.
All of the painting you are seeing over here, so these are known as tanka, which is a Tibetan word which means the painting that is painted on a cotton surface. Okay, so first of all what we do is we just take a normal cotton like this and we stretch it on a wooden frame very hardly and very tightly. Okay, so while tying it very hard on normal cotton, what happens is there are some millions of tiny holes. So if you pour the color can bleed. So we cannot do the painting on a normal cotton. So we have a process, we call it the process of canvas.
While at nearby workshops, artists like Sonam still lose themselves in the ritual of creation.
यो चाहिँ बम्बई ड्याङ कटन जुन यसैबाट चाहिँ हाम्रो ट्रेडिसनल आर्टको चाहिँ थाङ्का फर्स्ट प्रोसेसिङ चाहिँ यहीँबाट हुन्छ। सरेस भन्ने गरिन्छ हामीले, यो चाहिँ खासमा र याक स्किन भनेर चाहिँ प्रयोग गरिन्छ पहिलेको त्यो हिस्ट्री हेर्दाखेरि चाहिँ। अनि अब यो चाहिँ हाम्रो चाहिँ माध्यम चाहिँ यो ग्लुको काम गर्छ यसले चाहिँ। यो र हामीले चाहिँ माटो मिसाएर चाहिँ यसमा पानी लगाएर अब यसको कति मात्रा गरेर तताइसकेपछि चाहिँ अनि अब हामीले कत्रो क्यानभस बनाउने कतिवटा बनाउने त्यो हिसाबले हामीले यो सरेस माटो भनिन्छ त्यो मिलाएर मात्रा मिलाएर हामीले प्रोसेसिङमा जानु सकिन्छ। हामीले चाहिँ यो क्यानभस बनाउँदाखेरि समय अनुसार मौसम अनुसारले पनि बनाउनु पर्ने हुन्छ। घाम लाग्ने बेलामा बनाउनु सक्यो भने हामीले छिटो आफ्नो कामहरू छिटो छरिदो बनाउन सकिन्छ र झरी पर्ने बेलामा चाहिँ हामीलाई निकै समय लाग्छ। त्यसले गर्दाखेरि यो घाम लाग्ने बेलामा हामीले बनाउन सक्यौं भने छिटो अनि यसलाई आफूलाई चाहिने मात्रामा पटक पटक यता दुई साइडमा चाहिँ क्लिन गर्नु सफा गर्नुपर्ने हुन्छ। अनि कतिको मात्रा हामीलाई चाहिन्छ त्यो पुगिसकेपछि हामीले त्यसपछि स्केचमा जानुपर्ने हुन्छ। यो सुकिसकेपछि चाहिँ एउटा यसरी पनि हामीले चेक गर्न सकिन्छ हामीले कतिको तयारी भयो भएन। यो आवाज आउनु पर्ने हुन्छ। जस्तै अब ओसिएको छ भने बेग्लै आवाज आउँछ, सुकेको छ भने राम्रो आवाज आउँछ। यो
Thangka painting begins with the canvas stretched tight, once upon wood, now upon iron frames. The glue that seals it, once drawn from the yak, now sourced from the maple or synthesized in a lab. Yet in the scent of drying paste, the artist still reads the readiness of the soul of the painting.
So after the sketching is done, second thing we do is the coloring. So while coloring, we have different levels of artists in our school. Like from the beginner level, we have intermediate and the master level of artists. So if you go with the beginner intermediate, they use the acrylic colors. But if you go with the master level of artists, so they use the stone colors like this. Okay, so why they use the stone color is stone being a natural color. So while we apply this sort of color in the art, it remains for the longer period of time because natural thing, it doesn't have expiry date. Yeah, so the meaning and the philosophy of an art, the art itself, it is preserved for the longer period of time. So that's why they use the stone. And for the finishing of an art, so we use 24 karat real gold on the painting. Okay, so why we use the gold is not to make the painting very expensive, but if you see in Hinduism, in Buddhism, gold it is signified as in purity. So to purify the meaning and the philosophy behind the art, so we use 24 karat real gold.
Every line follows a rule, every proportion holds meaning. The face of the deity isn't imagined, it slowly reveals itself, guided by sacred patterns that keep harmony between the world outside and the spirit within. The colors come from the earth, crushed stones and minerals mixed with glue, made to last for generations. Lapis brings purity, malachite speaks of compassion, and cinnabar carries wisdom. These are just colors. They are prayers in pigment.
प्राचीन कालमा चाहिँ यो थाङ्गा चाहिँ पाँचवटा कलर लेख्ने हो। 5 कलर जस्तो अग्नि तत्त्व, वायु तत्त्व, माटो तत्त्व, हावा तत्त्व, 5 तत्त्वले बनाएको हो। त्यो 5 तत्त्वले किन बनाएको भने त्यो 5 तत्त्वबाट हाम्रो शरीर बनाएको छ नि। यो थाङ्गा भनेको चाहिँ वास्तवमा के हो भने जे जति थाङ्गामा छ त्यो हामीसँगै छ, जे हामीसँग त्यो थाङ्गामै छ। त्यसकारण त्यो बेला चाहिँ त्यो नेचुरल, हाम्रो पनि नेचुरली बनाएको हो नि त, प्रकृतिले बनाएको नि। थाङ्गा पनि प्रकृति नै हो। त्यसमा अलिक अहिले चाहिँ कलर के छ भने 5वटा कलरमा हामीले मिसाउँदाखेरि अर्को कलर बन्छ। त्यो 5वटा कलर मात्रै पुग्दैन। त्यो बेला त्यो रियालिटी थाङ्गा नजिक बसेर साधना गर्दा हामीलाई त्यो भाइब्रेसन आउँछ, पोजिटिभ कुरा आउँछ। यो त खालि जुन बुद्धले टिकाको टिचिङ गर्नुभएको नेचुरल फेनोमेना छ नि, नेचुरल माइन्ड छ नि, त्योसँग रिलेटेड छ यो।
Home Bahadur Tamang, a gifted Thanga artist from the spiritual heart of Buddha, has turned his craft into a global bridge between tradition and business.
थाङ्गा चाहिँ मैले 1970 सिक्न सुरुवात गरेको। मेरो टिचर चाहिँ म भन्दा अघिल्लो मेरो दाइ हो, साइला दाइ। मेरो चाहिँ बाउपादेखि नै कलाकार हुनुहुन्थ्यो। पाटन, भक्तपुर, छामेल, दरबार स्क्वायरमा यसै पसल बेच्ने काम हुन्थ्यो। अनि त्यो बेच्दा मैले यो थाङ्गा चाहिँ विदेशीले किन्दो रहेछ, आफैले विदेशसँग बेच्नुपर्छ भन्ने अलिकति मनमा मलाई अलिकति सोच आयो। त्यसपछि मैले 2050 सालमा यहाँ सुरु गरेँ, आजभन्दा 32 वर्ष अगाडि।
What began as a young artist's journey through the streets of Kathmandu has blossomed into a thriving enterprise where sacred art meets business and tourism. With every brushstroke, Home brings Nepal's rich spiritual heritage to the world, transforming Thanga painting into a symbol of cultural fusion.
त्यो बेला चाहिँ पसलको पनि यहाँ थिएन, किनभने त्यो मार्केटले चाहिँ कहाँ मार्केट हुन्छ भन्ने खोज्दो रहेछ। त्यो खोज्ने क्रममा म यहाँ आइपुग्यो। विदेशीहरू पनि यहाँ त्यति अहिले जस्तो बस्दैन, 5 मिनट 10 मिनटमा घुमेर जानुहुन्थ्यो। त्यतिखेर खाने रेस्टुरेन्ट पनि एकजना मात्रै थियो, एउटा मात्रै थियो। अहिले चाहिँ होस् त्यो बेला र अहिलेमा धेरै आकाश जमिनको फरक भएको छ।
His story is one of passion, innovation, and a deep commitment to preserving tradition while embracing the future.
विशेष गरी यो बौद्ध स्तूपसँग रिलेटेड छ। यो बुद्धको शिक्षासँग रिलेटेड यो थाङ्गा चाहिँ संसारको मानिसहरू यो स्तूपलाई घुम्ने क्रममा यो प्रार्थना गर्ने मेन आउने ठाउँ चाहिँ यो रहेछ। त्यसो भएको हुनाले यो चाहिँ विशेष गरी ओल्ड हेरिटेज साइटमा चाहिँ त्यो पनि के हो बुद्धिस्टको भएको हुनाले चाहिँ नेपालभरिको नै थाङ्का बिक्ने ठाउँ चाहिँ अति महत्त्वपूर्ण चाहिँ यो नै हो वास्तवमा, किनभने रिलेटेड छ यो बुद्धसँग।
From the hills of Ramechhap to the heart of Buddha, Home Bahadur Damang has a glorious story to tell. A story of will, determination, struggle, and success.
म आफै पनि रामेछाप दुर्गम जिल्लामा जन्मेको चाहिँ रोजगार छैन, त्यहाँ स्कुल छैन, कलेज छैन, हस्पिटल छैन, रोजगार छैन। त्यसपछि म पनि रोजगारकै क्रममा यहाँ आएर मैले सुरुवात गर्यो। अहिले चाहिँ म लगभग 49 वर्ष भयो यही पेसा गरेर दाल भात खाएको। अब नयाँ पुस्तालाई पनि मैले हस्तान्तरण गर्नुपर्छ है भन्ने मेरो एउटा उद्देश्यले चाहिँ अहिले मैले नयाँ पुस्तालाई चाहिँ गाउँबाट आउनुहुन्छ, स्कुल सकेर अनि बिहान चाहिँ कलेज जानुहुन्छ, दिउँसो काम छैन। त्यस कारणले मैले 3 महिना फ्री ट्रेनिङ दिने गरेको छ। उहाँको स्किल अन्त टेस्ट गरेर हामीले यहीँ तलब दिएर जस्तो बिहान कलेज पनि भ्यायो उसो कति हो त्यसो त्यहाँबाट एक्स्ट्रा टाइम चाहिँ 5 घण्टा 6 घण्टा 7 घण्टा मैले पनि यहाँ जीवन चलाउने चाहिँ काम भइरहेको छ अहिले।
For 49 years, He painted, taught, and empowered young artisans. Today, his school preserves tradition and creates futures.
हामीले यहाँ सुरुमा इन्टरभ्यू लिन्छौँ त्यसपछि एक हप्ता चाहिँ नि सानो क्यानभासमा हात ट्रेनिङ दिन्छु त्यसको शरीरको बडीहरू अलिकति ट्रेनिङ दिन्छु अनि एक हप्तापछि ओके भनेर ओके या यस भने कोही मानिस नसक्ने चाहिँ नि आधा घन्टामा एक घन्टामा उठेर गइहाल्छ म सक्दैन ढाड दुख्यो किन उसको मन धेरै भएर गयो त्यो सक्दैन ऊ आउँदैन एक दिन पनि आउँदैन मात्रै आँखा चाहिँ हुनु पर्यो हामीले अपाङ्गलाई पनि सिकाएको छ जस्तो बाहिर कान नसुन्ने पनि सिकाएको छ आँखा चाहिँ हुनु पर्यो त्यस्तै हो
As interest in Buddhism grows worldwide, so does the appreciation for our sacred art. Foreigners now come not just to admire but to learn, studying our architecture techniques and meditative Thanka traditions, giving new life to what was once known only within our borders.
बुद्धिज्म नेपाल हो नेपालमा जति छन् विश्वसम्पादकमा सूचीमा भएको मठ मन्दिर गुम्बद छ यसैबाट उहाँले पनि सिकेको वास्तवमा यो जुन बौद्ध स्तूपरा भनौँ लुम्बिनी त्यो जस्तो त उहाँहरूले बनाउन सक्दैन तर यसको चाहिँ एकदम महत्त्वपूर्ण के छ भगवान या चाहिँ दोस्रो तेस्रो बुद्धको रिलेटिभ यहाँ छ जति चाहिँ अहिले संसारमा यो बुद्धिज्म फैलिँदै जान्छ यो महायान बुद्धिज्म त्यतिकै ठाउँको भ्यालु चाहिँ बढ्दैछ अहिले जस्तो मेरै कुरा मैले 40-45 वर्ष यति ठाउँको महत्त्व थिएन किनभने वर्ल्ड वाइडमा बुद्धिज्ममा थिएन विदेशीहरूले जानेकै थिएन उनीहरूले त्यो सुरसुर आउँदाखेरि सानोतिनो एउटा नेपाल आउँदाखेरि सुपर नेट किन नलैजाऊ भन्ने मान्दै लाग्थ्यो अहिले चाहिँ उहाँहरू चाहिँ जस्तो अमेरिका युरोप तपाईँको यो सिङ्गापुर ताइवान मलेसिया विभिन्न देशमा चाहिँ अहिले बुद्धिस्ट प्र्याक्टिसनर धेरै उहाँहरू चाहिँ गर्नुहुन्छ त्यसको लागि चाहिँ एकदमै महत्त्वपूर्ण छ त्यसकारणले भविष्यमा यो थाङ्गा चाहिँ छ यसको मार्केट छ
As an artist, entrepreneur, and a master, he feels fulfilled, creating beauty, guiding others, and living with purpose.
मैले संसार जीवन जगतलाई थाहा पायो अहिले हामी सांसारिक जीवन छ सांसारिक जीवनमा कसरी जिउने र अर्कोलाई पनि कसरी जिउन दिने कला थाहा पायो त्यसपछि अब जुन देशमा जन्मे पनि जुन कुलमा जन्मे पनि 100% निश्चित के हो भने मृत्यु छ त्यो त निश्चित हो नि एउटै निश्चित छैन कहिले पनि निश्चित छैन तर त्यो मर्नेमा म कसरी मर्ने भन्ने कला पनि थाहा पाएँ मलाई त धेरै परिवर्तन भएको छ मैले परिवर्तन भयो भने के हुन्छ मैले ठुलो पतेरो चढ्यो ठुलो गाडी त्यस्तो होइन तर मलाई खुसी छ सादा दाल भात खान पाएछ मैले परिवार पाल्नु पाएछ यही ठाङ्गाले म जापान घुम्यो युरोप गयो चाइना घुम्यो बुद्धिस्ट कन्ट्री सबै घुमेको छ सबै ठाउँमा मैले घुम्नलाई मलाई पैसाको आपत पनि परेन थाङ्गा सँगसँगै लाँदै ब्रिफिङ गर्दै बेच्दै दर्शन बेचेको हो त्यसकारण मलाई त एकदम खुसी छु म त पनि
Then comes the awakening, the eyes. Until that moment, the Thangka is silent. When the artist paints the peoples, the deity is invited to reside within. The canvas breathes, the prayer begins. From quiet Himalayan ateliers to the galleries in Tokyo, Berlin, and New York, Thangkas now travel far beyond the monasteries. They adorn homes, museums, and collectors' walls, a global symbol of Nepal's artistic devotion.
Mostly, Thanka word itself is a Tibetan word, so this tradition belongs to Tibetan people. This tradition belongs to Tamang. This tradition belongs to Newar community. Although they have different expression of color, technique, the detail, but this tradition, this culture belongs to this three community, and this is kind of passed on tradition. They learn this skill from their forefather to the new generation. This is how this tradition has been continuing and preserving. So it is beneficial for them to live their life, and it is beneficial for the country because this is a culture, and culture and tradition is the treasure of each country.
The trade sustains thousands. From the hum of Bodh's alleys to export crates bound for distant lands, Thangka has become a vital thread in Nepal's creative economy. Yet, as markets grow, so does the tension between faith and fame, between meditation and merchandise.
कला चाहिँ दुवै राम्रै हो हैन आफ्नो आफ्नै फिलोसफी भन्ने हो यसले चाहिँ तपाईको मन भित्रको डेप्थमा जाने सिकाउने हो यसमा चाहिँ यो चाहिँ मिहिन काम हुन्छ कठिन पनि हुन्छ के किनभने यसमा चाहिँ तपाईले चाहिँ अघिको जस्तो धेरै चीजहरु चाहिँ लिनुपर्छ अनुशासन लिनु पर्यो हैन यसको विधि विधानमा बसेर गर्नुपर्छ यसमा चाहिँ अब त्यो चाहिँ तपाईको मनमा जुन फिलिङ्स आउँछ त्यो लेखिहाल्ने हो के त्यो गर्दाखेरि त्यसले पनि वर्ल्डमा चलिरहेछ यसले चाहिँ नेपालले किन अब त्यसलाई चाहिँ कम्पिटिसन गर्न सक्छ भने चाहिँ यो चीज चाहिँ अरूले गर्न सक्दैन किनभने त्यसमा मेडिटेसन ध्यान जस्तै गर्नुपर्छ के सरकारी स्कुलबाट चाहिँ स्कुलिङ देखि नै गर्नुपर्छ यसको पाठ्यक्रमहरु बनाउनु पर्छ हैन एउटा त्यो गरिसकेपछि यसको प्रमोट हुन्छ हैन हामीलाई चाहिने त त्यो प्रवर्धन हो नि तर ब्याङ्किङहरुले पनि के गर्नु पर्यो भने यसलाई चाहिँ बिना दिदोमा पनि के रे ऋण दिने वातावरण हैन कलाकारको के छुटाएर के अनि तपाईको हामीले ट्याक्स तिर्नु पर्छ ट्याक्स तिर्दाखेरि पनि कुनै एउटा चीज चाहिँ कलाकारलाई कुन ओदामा राखेर त्यसको एउटा ब्यालेन्स एउटा गरेर सरकारले गरिदियो भने यसको जन अझ फ्रस्टिन्छ के फ्रस्टेपछि त यो नेपालकै लागि चाहिँ यसले चाहिँ पर्यटनलाई पनि विकास हुने अनि त्यो स्कुल कलेजमा भयो भने पुस्ता हस्तान्तरण चाहिँ एकदम दिगो हुन्छ के
All the Thangka has same meaning of peace. So foreigner, they admire philosophy. Practitioner also, they choose deities mostly to practice, to visualize, and they imagine the quality of deities with themselves. And some least person, they want it as a souvenir to decorate for the positive vibe. Some they buy it for the gift for their loved one. Philosophy reminds us about the beautiful quality, and that quality gives us peace, and that peace is everyone searching for. So Thangka painting is very, very important for everyone because it is relevant with our life. If it is relevant with our life, that is truth.
But beyond commerce and canvas, a Thangka is still a mirror, reflecting a way of life where art and spirit breathe as one. Every brush that moves today carries the echo of generations, an unbroken whisper from monastery walls to the modern world. As the sun sets over the Himalayas, somewhere an artist bows before a finished Thangka. His work is now complete, his prayer released. For in every stroke lies a journey from pigment to prayer, from devotion to eternity. This is not just Nepal's art, it is Nepal's soul, painted into time.
U.S. President Donald Trump has sparked a wave of diplomatic backlash after declaring on social media that the airspace above and around Venezuela is closed in the entirety. The announcement, posted Sunday local time in Asia, has been denounced as a direct challenge to Venezuela's sovereignty. Iran was among the first to respond. Its foreign ministry spokesperson, Nasser Kanani, called the U.S. move a serious violation of international law and a threat to global aviation safety. Tehran accused Washington of escalating what it described as a pattern of provocative and illegal measures against Caracas. Cuba also sharply criticized the announcement. Foreign Minister Bruno Rodriguez said the U.S. statement represents an aggressive act that should be firmly rejected by the international community, warning it risks triggering unpredictable consequences for peace and stability across Latin America and the Caribbean. Ecuador's former president Rafael Correa joined in the condemnation, labeling the U.S. declaration a direct act of aggression against a sovereign state. Israel's political landscape has intensified after Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu formally requested a presidential pardon in his long-running corruption trials, saying the cases are tearing the country apart. Netanyahu faces charges of bribery, fraud, and breach of trust in several high-profile cases that have dominated Israeli politics for years. The request has drawn sharp criticism from the opposition. Yair Lapid, Israel's opposition leader, urged President Isaac Herzog to reject the pardon unless Netanyahu admits guilt, shows remorse, and immediately steps aside from political life. Lapid warned that granting a pardon under any other conditions could undermine public trust in Israel's democratic institutions. Herzog's office has acknowledged the request but has not indicated a timeline for a decision. Netanyahu trials, which began in 2020, include allegations ranging from accepting expensive gifts from businessmen to attempting to influence media coverage for political gain. The situation is unprecedented. No sitting Israeli prime minister has ever sought a pardon before a verdict, highlighting both the legal and political tensions currently crippling the country. Police in Stockton, Northern California, are increasing patrols after a mass shooting at a family gathering left 4 people dead and 10 others injured late Saturday night. The attack took place inside a banquet hall near Thornton Road, where dozens had gathered for a private celebration. Authorities say the shooting was a targeted incident, though they have not yet revealed a motive or confirmed whether the victims were specifically singled out. Emergency crews rushed multiple survivors to nearby hospitals, where several remained in critical condition. Stockton police are reviewing security footage, interviewing witnesses, and appealing to the public for the information as the investigation expands. The city has struggled with rising gun violence in recent years, and officials say this latest tragedy underscores the urgent need for stronger community safety measures. Hundreds of protesters marched through the streets of Manila, demanding accountability over an alleged multi-billion-dollar flood control corruption scheme involving lawmakers, government officials, and construction contractors. Demonstrators carried placards, flags, and religious icons calling for justice and transparency in a program meant to protect communities from flooding. One protester told reporters, "It's a systemic issue, so in order to change these things, it can't be one person doing actions. If they're all together, then it can be something that is loud, it can be something that's heard." The rally highlights growing public frustration over corruption in infrastructure projects, with many Filipinos saying such scandals undermine both safety and public trust. Authorities have not yet commented on whether the protest will trigger an official investigation or response. Sri Lanka is facing a worsening crisis as Cyclone Ditwa brings widespread flooding, landslides, and destructive winds across the island.
Emergency teams and the military are carrying out rescue operations as floodwaters submerge homes and major roads. Thousands of people have been displaced, with many shelters now operating at full capacity. Heavy rains continue across the northern, north central, central and western provinces, while landslides have been reported in several hill country areas. Authorities warn the death toll is rising as access to affected villages remain difficult. Coastal and fishing communities have been advised to stay away from the sea, with winds gusting up to 90 kilometers per hour and waves reaching nearly 4 meters. The Meteorology Department says the system will continue to bring severe weather over the next 24 hours. Officials urge the public to avoid flooded areas, remain in safe shelters and follow updates from the Disaster Management Center and the Department of Meteorology. A SpaceX Falcon 9 rocket has successfully launched from the Vandenberg Space Force Base in California, carrying Taiwan's first domestically assembled optical remote sensing satellite. The spacecraft is part of the island's new Formosat 8 program, a major step in strengthening Taiwan's Earth observation and disaster monitoring capabilities. The satellite will provide high-resolution imaging for environmental research, agricultural planning, and emergency response, areas where Taiwan has been seeking greater technological independence. This launch was also notable for its scale. The Falcon 9 carried more than 140 additional payloads into orbit, including small satellites and research instruments from multiple international partners in what SpaceX described as another high-capacity rideshare mission. For Taiwan, the mission marks an important milestone in its space development roadmap and a signal of growing self-reliance in advanced satellite engineering. British playwright Tom Stoppard, one of the most influential dramatists of the past century, has died at the age of 88. His agency, United Agents, confirmed he passed away peacefully at his home in Dorset, surrounded by family. Stoppard was best known globally for co-writing the Oscar-winning screenplay of the 1998 film Shakespeare in Love. However, his impact on literature and theatre reaches far beyond cinema. His plays, including Rosencrantz and Guildenstern Are Dead, Arcadia, and The Coast of Utopia, reshaped modern theatre with their mix of wit, philosophy, and political depth. Born in Czechoslovakia and raised in the UK, Stoppard spent 6 decades crafting works that challenged audiences while captivating them. His death is being mourned across the arts world, with tributes highlighting his unmatched command of his language. His death is being mourned across the arts world, with tributes highlighting his unmatched command of language and imagination. Stoppard's passing marks the end of an era. Few writers managed to blend intellectual rigor with emotional grace the way he did, leaving behind a legacy that will shape global theatre for generations. In Los Angeles, U.S. actor Chadwick Boseman, best known globally for his iconic role as King T'Challa in Black Panther, has been honored with a posthumous star on the Hollywood Walk of Fame. Boseman died in 2020 after a private, years-long battle with colon cancer, leaving behind a legacy that continues to influence film, culture, and representation in Hollywood. Family, friends, and fans gathered for the ceremony, celebrating his impact both on and off screen. His widow, Simone Ledward Boseman, accepted the award on his behalf, saying all of them were proud of him. Boseman's career included critically acclaimed performances in films like 42, Get On Up, and Ma Rainey's Black Bottom, earning him global admiration for his depth, versatility, and dignity. The star now stands as a lasting tribute to an actor whose work reshaped superhero storytelling and inspired millions worldwide. A U.S. citizen from Sacramento, California, has found a new path in life through Shaolin martial arts, a traditional Chinese kung fu school rooted in Zen philosophy. Zachary McBride, who previously struggled with distractions, alcohol, and personal challenges, credits Shaolin training with helping him rebuild his life and find inner peace. In the documentary The Spirit of Shaolin by China Global Television Network, McBride explores how embracing discipline, meditation, and martial arts transformed him. He told reporters that it basically brought him up from the bottom and it rebuilt him into a whole different person. Once he met his Shifu, he was real patient with him. He showed him that by staying away from things that don't make you feel good, you can reach a level of Zen. McBride's journey highlights how ancient practices like Shaolin Kung Fu continue to inspire individuals worldwide, offering guidance, focus, and a path towards personal transformation.
Among Nepal's many glacial lakes, some are at serious risk of bursting. Sudden bursts of these lakes due to the impact of climate change could result in massive loss of lives and property. This issue has already been discussed widely in the international community. Nepal itself has been drawing attention to the condition of these lakes and the harm they could cause. Even then, in the recent years, several glacial lakes of Nepal have already burst, resulting in heavy loss of life and property. Experts warn that this trend could continue to grow and have urged everyone to take preventive action. Just a week ago, in Koike rural municipality of Dolba district of the far western Nepal, flood mixed with derbs buried about 53 houses. Likewise, in mid-April 2025, heavy rainfall and flooding in Srinagar Bazar of Odanchuli municipality in Humla in the northwestern Nepal has caused massive destruction. Continuous rain has also damaged areas in Srinagar and nearby villages in Mugu's Khatiar rural municipality. Last year, it was confirmed that the flood in Thame River of Solukhumbu in the Khumbu region of the foothills of Mount Everest was caused by glacial lake outburst. Similarly, the unexpected flood in Rasua along Nepal-China border in the north on July 8, 2025, according to experts, was the result of glacial lake outburst. Recently, ICIMOD used satellite images and other research to identify 47 glacial lakes that could burst at any time, causing harm to human settlement in Nepal. The study shows that many of these high-risk lakes are located within Koshi River Basin. ICIMOD's General Director, Dr. Pema Gyamso, says that the climate change and rising temperature are the main reasons behind the bursting of these lakes. Gyamso adds that to stop such disasters, there must be strong investment in the early warning systems and emergency preparation.
Collaboration चाहिए, cooperation transboundary. अब हाम्रो 8 देश छ इन्दो-कोशी हिमालयमा, त्यसमा हामीले information exchange गर्ने, scientific cooperation. अब त्यसको लागि पनि investment चाहियो, funding चाहियो. त्यसको पनि problem छ. अन्त हामीले अहिले इसिमोड चाहिँ यो पोलिटिकली न्युट्रल भएर हामीले चाहिँ के गर्दैछौँ भने साइन्टिस्टहरू र हाम्रो पोलिसी मेकर्ससँग लिएर डिस्कस चाहिँ हुँदैछ, तर हामीले अलिक योभन्दा बेसी कोअपरेसन चाहिँ गरिरहेछ, खास चाहिँ कोअर्डिनेसन कोअपरेसन. हामीले यो रिसोर्सेस र यो नपुगेर पनि कोअपरेसन छ भने अहिलेभन्दा बेसी हामीले त्यो प्रिभेन्सन गर्न सक्छौँ डिसास्टरलाई.
Out of the 47 risky glacial lakes, 25 are located in China, 21 are inside Nepal, and 1 lies on the Indian side. Even if the lakes in China and India burst, the damage would still reach Nepal's settlement downstream. Records show that glacial lake outbursts have been causing destruction in Nepal for decades. In the past 24 years alone, 26 glacial lake outbursts have been recorded. Among them, 14 occurred inside Nepal itself. Research shows that Lower Boron Lake is one of the lakes posing highest risk that could affect the nearby settlements. Similarly, Chamlang, Inja, Lumding, and Tulangi glacial lakes are also at high risk. If large amount of stored water releases at once, the resulting flood could be even bigger than the recent ones in Rasua. When heavy snow or ice falls onto the glacial lake, it can displace the water, causing sudden floods downstream. Large blocks of ice or rock sliding onto the lake can push the water out, creating massive flood carrying mud, rocks, and debris. Experts believe that Nepal still needs to do much more to reduce the impact of climate change. They say cooperation in the international community and greater national investment in prevention and protection are both essential.
In Nepal, child marriage is long-standing culture that has been hindering girls' access to education and severely affecting their health and overall well-being. Child marriage is a criminal offense in Nepal, and the legal age for tying the knot is 20 years. However, this legal provision often remains only on paper. The 2021 census indicates that Sudur Paschim province of the country has alarming child marriage rate of 29.1%. Meanwhile, the Kailali Health Office reports 881 women gave birth before the age of 20 in just the first 7 months of the previous fiscal year, while 305 teenage girls delivered babies, highlighting the child marriage remains deeply entrenched due to lack of awareness and prevailing social norms. While 305 teenage girls delivered babies, highlighting that child marriage remains deeply entrenched due to lack of awareness and prevailing social norms. Data of the last 25 years show that Nepal has made a significant achievement, decreasing it by 58%. The prevalence of child marriage before the age of 18 among girls in Nepal was approximately 33% as of 2019 data, a decrease from 58% in 1994. More recent data from 2022 indicates a slight increase to around 35% of women aged 20 to 24 first married by age 18. But in Kailali, the number of teenage girls giving birth before the age of 20 is on the rise, and the traditional practice of home deliveries has yet to disappear. Medical experts warn premature pregnancy poses significant health risk for both mothers and infants.
आमालाई पर्ने असर भनेको चाहिँ अब छिटै विवाह भयो, छिटै बच्चा पाएपछि उहाँहरुको क्यारियर अवरुद्ध हुने अनि उहाँहरुको चाहिँ एउटा सेल्फ स्टिम भनौं न आत्मबल कमजोर हुने, छिटै उमेरमा एउटा बच्चा पाउनुको मतलब उहाँले पछि फेरि बच्चा धेरै बच्चा पाउन सक्ने, त्यसले गर्दा उहाँहरुको स्वास्थ्यमा जोखिम हुन सक्ने, उहाँहरुले आर्थिक उपार्जन गर्न नसक्ने,
leading to increased incidences of severe health complications and mortality. The persistence of child marriage, teenage pregnancy, and home deliveries highlights gaps in public awareness, limited education, and inadequate access to healthcare services. An age-old ritual and practice that connects two immediate neighbors, Nepal and India, at the popular level. The 7-day Ram Sita Vivaha Panchami culminates Tuesday to the magnanimous end. Thousands of devotees from India as well as the Mithila region throng Janakpur Dham, the vibrant cultural and religious city in Nepal's southern plains. Falling on the 5th day of the waxing moon in November, this festival commemorates the sacred union of Goddess Sita and Lord Ram. The event has long been a metaphor for the cultural and religious harmony between